공화당이 변신을 서두르고 있습니다. 공화당 전국위원회가 한인 사회를 비롯해서 소수계 이민자 사회에 손을 내밀고 있습니다. 소수계의 표심 잡기를 통해서 앞으로의 선거에서 승리를 거두기 위한 것으로 해석되고 있습니다. 그래서 오늘은 공화당 전국위원회 RNC, 중앙당격인 RNC를 이끌고 있는 라인스 프리버스 공화당 전국위원장을 모시고 얘기를 한번 들어보겠습니다. 네, good to see you. Thank you.
Excited to be on the show.
Okay. As you know, May is Asian American Heritage Month. What do you think Asian American contribute to America? Right.
Well, I mean, for one thing, I just want to talk a little bit about what that means to us at the party.
Okay.
I think you know we're refocusing our entire Republican National Committee. One of the things that we need to do is we need to show up as a party and not just 5 months before an election. And that's what we're trying to launch here, really in coordination with this month, in which is time to celebrate Asian Americans across the country. And so I think you see we're building out a pretty big party, speaking to Asians from coast to coast, Koreans from coast to coast. And what it means is, to us, is celebrating, I think, the diversity of what this country brings, and that we're all a nation, we're all immigrants at some point, and we all have an immigrant story to tell. I do. I know you do.
Yeah.
We all do. And so we're just trying to celebrate that and what that means to America.
How would you reach out to minority voters, especially Korean American?
I mean, you've met our new communications director, Jason Chung, and he is obviously opening up some doors that we needed opened up. But it really is, it's a commitment. I mean, it's a first step, right? I mean, it's a matter of showing up. It's a matter of engaging. It's a matter of having real, authentic relationships in Asian communities, Korean communities across the country. And it's a start. And I think we've got a ways to go. But if we're not telling folks in Korean communities and Asian communities what it means to be a Republican, what does upward mobility mean? What is equality, freedom, and opportunity mean across this country? And what does this party stand for? If we're not selling that across the country, you're not going to sell it 3 months before an election. And so that's really what this engagement process is all about.
Immigration policy is very important to reach out to immigrant community.
And to that point, if you look at who is really leading on this issue today, who is it? It's Marco Rubio. I mean, you can talk all day long about President Obama and even John McCain, and he's a Republican, obviously. But Schumer and the president are not leading on this issue. It's Republicans that are leading on the issue. My point was this, that we have to be leaders on the issue of immigration reform. The president has promised the world, and he has delivered nothing. My point is that Republicans have to lead. And what I was saying the next day when I was interviewed was that it's not the job of the RNC chairman to draft the details in the bill and say this is part of the pathway, this is part of border security, this isn't. The fact is, whether you're Rand Paul or John McCain, all of these people have said we need to have immigration reform in this country. So that was my point, that we need to lead on the issue. And the fact is, if we're being honest about it, the only people leading right now are actually Republicans.
To create a path to citizenship for 11 million undocumented people?
Listen, and that's not my call. Now, I don't believe that blanket amnesty is the way to go. I don't agree with that. No, okay. I don't. But I do agree that if we can secure our border, I mean, really secure the border, then I think Republicans across the country are willing to have a conversation and figure out how we can have comprehensive immigration reform in this country. Here's the problem. If you don't secure the border, let me just play this out for a second if you don't mind. If you don't secure the border, the next debate in this conversation is going to be, well, 14 years is too long. The fine is too big. The waiting in line stuff it's too long. Instead of 14, let's make it 10. Well, maybe 10's too long. Maybe make it 6. Maybe make it 4. And if you don't have a secure border, then what do you get out of it? You get nothing. You have a broken system. We also have to do a better job of expanding the education, visas, bringing in more skilled help, engineers, labor. Our H-1 visa program is in shambles. So, I mean, it's not just, I think it's a mistake to focus in on this 11 million undocumented portion of this bill. There's a lot about immigration right now that's broken. And it's not just that piece.
RN's just launched the online petition to repeal Obamacare. Why do you think Obamacare should be repealed? What's your GOP alternative?
And the only people in the end, you'll see, after 3 or 4 years that are going to be helped by Obamacare are the super, super rich, the people who own massive companies that now won't have to pay for health care, and the very, very, very poor. We already have programs that cover the poor through health care. So in the end, it will cost jobs, it will be too expensive, and people won't get to choose the doctors that they want. So that's the first piece. The second piece is you do have to have an alternative. And the major thing that our country has to come to grips with is tort reform. The idea that people are getting sued for millions of dollars in non-compensation related damages, portability, pre-existing conditions, competition across state lines. I mean, those are plans and programs that our party has been behind. Open pricing. I mean, the idea that hospitals don't compete with each other in the same county. And that, you know, where I come from in Kenosha, Wisconsin, we've got three hospitals. You don't know what one procedure costs from one hospital to the next. That's a problem. So I know it's a complex conversation to have in a couple minutes, but I think you get the idea. There has to be an alternative. But socialized medicine is not what this country's all about, and Obamacare's got to go.
South Korean President Ms. Park is coming on Monday to Washington. And the Korea-US alliance is now 60-year-old. What do you think is most important thing for a better, stronger alliance?
Of unity between South Korea and the United States that this meeting is happening. I mean, and clearly with what's happening in North Korea, I think the message is pretty clear that that alliance is going to remain strong and that this country and our president and the leadership in this country are committed to that. Obviously, as chairman of the National Party, just to make it really clear, it is very rare that as a national chairman we get involved in foreign policy. I mean, obviously we're not in security meetings, we're not part of that sort of decision making, but I think we can agree at least that it's a very good thing for South Korea and the United States to continue that strong relationship that we've got.
Okay. President Obama North Korea policy is effective. How to solve the North Korea nuclear issue and the threat?
The president, obviously, for having a meeting that I think is a good thing for our country to have. So, I mean, it's not always politics all the time. I mean, it's important, I think, in many cases, especially in these sorts of things, to encourage a strong relationship. And it's not critical and it's not delving into foreign policy, but I think it's common sense and I think it's good for our country.
What's the GOP strategy to solve the North Korean nuclear issue?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it's really not something that as chairman of the party that I get into. I mean, I really don't give advice on nuclear proliferation to the Senate or the House or the President. I mean, it really isn't something I do. But I do believe that we need to be very concerned, we need to be wary, and we need to have our eyes open as far as what's happening in North Korea. I don't think we should take North Korea lightly. And I think that, I'm happy to see that senators on our side of the aisle are taking a very, I think, pretty clear and concise approach to handling what's happening in North Korea. And I think that that's good for our country, to be very clear with North Korea, to be careful, and also to be, to take a position on it and to look into it and to be aggressive.
What is the momentum in naming Jason That's a direct.
Well, I mean, it's important. I mean, listen, you can talk all day long about this stuff, right? But what we're trying to do is show the Korean community, obviously by hiring Jason as our communications director, that we're serious about this engagement, that it's not just talk, that we're actually hiring a person whose everyday commitment is to reach out to the Korean and Asian community and tell our story. And this is just the beginning, because we've got a long way to go.
Any messages to Korean community?
We want to welcome Koreans into our party. We want to explain and show that we're the party of opportunity, we're the party of freedom, equality, and that our ideas will create more jobs, give more freedom, more educational choice to parents and students, and that's just the beginning. But we're going to be in your community, and we're going to fight for every vote in this country, and that includes Asians and Koreans.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right,
so
thank
much.
you. God bless. Appreciate the interview.